Hello and good day. Welcome to this Welltravel ecosystem webinar today on the 6th of March. My name is Philip, and I'm happy to present you today's topics. Our agenda today will consist out of showcasing a new feature on the queue management. We have now a new feature called auto import. We're going to showcase you that, and we're going to also revisit the fee that have been enhanced, and obviously also we incorporated some further learnings from our previous version on the fees. So we're going to also check on the enhanced and improved fee and fee handling on our platform. Now, as always, if you have any questions, you can just send them to webinar@welltravel.com. All right, very exciting. We have a new feature called Auto Import, and I'm going to showcase you that during our webinar. So what does that do, basically? You will now be able to import PNRs, reservations that have been created outside of our system, and they will be auto imported. So you don't have to click on auto to import. I can show you how that happened previously. So previously, you went manually onto the queue list. You went onto the supplier, the corresponding account, the queue, and you looked at the different PNRs. Now, in this case, there is one single PNR on Q10, and we're going to have a quick look. As this has been created outside of our system, it is unknown to our platform. And as you can see, beautiful PNR here consisting out of a flight from Johannesburg to Durban. Then pickup car at Durban, drive to the Garden Court, Umhlanga, stay there for 4 nights. And then on the 30th of June, back to the airport, dropping the car, and then the flight back from Durban to Johannesburg. So very simple. And we have some traveler here. So one traveler, one passenger on this PNR. Now, again, previously, you had now to go and import basically the PNR manually. With the auto import, this is going to be done automatically. Additionally to that, this is not only an unknown PNR, but it is also an unknown passenger to our system. So what's going to happen is basically with the import and creation of an order on our system, the passenger profile will be automatically created. So we're going to do that now. We have, with this auto import, we have 3 options basically that we can enable and use with this task. We can just import the PNR or the reservation. So whenever there is a new PNR or new reservation on a specific queue, we're going to import it automatically. We can also activate updating. So that means kind of it doesn't only import and create the booking on our platform, but it also consistently updates the booking. So it always checks the latest update of a booking. So if there is any changes, etc. And then ultimately, you have also the possibility to remove a booking from a queue. So if the supplier has that capability also on the queue, our system can then also remove it. So you always have like a cleaned up queue available. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to create this booking. So we're going to select Galileo Bravo 9 Victor was the was the PCC, and we're going to say Q10, and now we can select different intervals, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, or every 24 hours. So if I select here 15 minutes, it will check every 15 minutes this queue, and if there is a new booking, it will create this new booking on our platform as an order, as well as it will auto-create the traveler. So we're going to do that. Let's see if it all works. So the auto queue handling task has been created. As we can see, it will create the booking, but will not update, will not remove the reservation. Yeah, and so we are going to come back here in about 15 minutes after we have revisited the fees. So let's go to the fees. This has been quite a topic on our agenda recently. In the beginning of 2019, as we had consistently enhanced and improved the fees. Now, let's go and create a new fee here. As we all aware of, still we have to add a name for this fee. Let's say we call it fee for flights, and we can say this is a specific fee for we had the international trade company. Okay, so this is going to be fee name. I can add here a price. Our platform here is set up in dollars, so let's say we have here $10 for this fee, no VAT, and we decide to make it visible to the customer, and we select international trade company here. This is the only organization and their travelers where this fee is going to be applied to. So, and now we come here to the tricky part, automatic behavior. So we can select both options here, automatically add on the agent and automatically add on the travel app. So the agent is where the travel agent, travel consultant is working. So that's where we are working today as we are setting this whole thing up. So this is basically where the travel consultant will create a booking, and to this booking before the checkout, this fee would then, if I click here to active, would then be automatically added if the underlying criteria are matched. So what's going to happen is I'm going to activate this for the agent platform, not for the travel app. We're going to look at this later. And I'm going to say now, and that's very important here to understand, product item types. For the time being, we have flight, hotel, and rental cars. There will be more item types shortly available. But for the time being, we have here flight. And obviously, as this is like a fee for flights, we just select flight here. Now, we have explicitly mentioned here two further criteria. All product types must be present. All items must match. So what it means is here, all product types must be present. If I select here flight and rental car and say all product types must be present, then all these three types of products need to be on the card in order that this fee would trigger. So if I have this deactivated, then it doesn't matter really. So it can be either a flight, it can be a hotel, it can be a rental car, or it can be a flight and a hotel or a flight and a rental car. It doesn't matter. This fee would be applied. If I activate this, all product types must be present. All three product types need to be on the card. Otherwise, this fee will not trigger. In this case, I say obviously I have only flight, and this is only fee for flights, so I say flight. All items must match. So if I have here flight, hotel, rental car, now all items must match in regards of those country applicability scope. Then, for example, if I say I want to have a domestic fee, let's say I would say United States, then only if the flight is within the United States, the hotel is within, and the car is within, only then this fee would trigger. If I click here, all items must match. Okay, so very important to again understand how this behavior is happening. So if I say, if I click all of these options here and I apply to when only United States of America, this means if I have only one flight, this will not trigger because I would need to have also a hotel and a rental car. So only if these three items are present on the card, this fee will trigger. Additionally, all these three types, so one or many flights, one or many hotel nights, one or many car rentals, all of those types need to then be within the United States. If I have a flight that, for example, touches Canada or touches any other country outside of the United States, this fee would not trigger. Again, very important to just understand these additional two options here. So again, all items must match means really kind of like they then all need to match like this rule here as well. If I deactivate then, well, then it doesn't really matter because then the flight can be domestic, but the hotel can be across the border in, let's say, in Toronto, and also the car rental. Still, this fee would then trigger. Yeah. So so have a look into the explanations here, and also maybe you want to start playing around with it a little bit. Just to understand what sort of like sophisticated scenarios now you can basically rebuild with our enhanced and improved fee capability. So again, in this case, let's remind ourselves again, in this case, I just want to have a fee for flights. And I haven't mentioned now the country. So whenever there is a flight, it will automatically add on the agent platform when the travel agent does a booking for any traveler that is associated with the international trade company. It will automatically create, it will automatically add this fee. Now I can go ahead and add one of those options. Again, we have a quick explanation regarding the behavior of those different criteria. So I'm going to try to explain this quickly here again in maybe other words, as this is maybe easier to understand, or just also with some examples. Maybe it's easier to get the mind around the capability here. So I have here, obviously, as the first option, I have global. So this is really kind of like for any flight, doesn't matter which country, doesn't matter which airport, whenever there is a flight from A to B, it will be applied. I have applied to if any matches. That means if I click here on apply to, and I select here, for example, Canada, this will be added to any flight that touches Canada. Even if it's just like a stopover, it will apply to any flight that travels through, or flight itinerary that goes through Canada. In contrast, applied except is the opposite of that, basically. Any flight that leaves, basically, so matches an item if at least one segment doesn't touch the selected country. So whenever there is a flight going from Canada outside of Canada, then in this scenario, this fee will apply. So let's say I have a flight from Toronto to JFK. It will also apply in this scenario specifically. Then we have the apply to when only. So this option, if selected Canada, will only now apply when there is only Canadian airports in the itinerary. So let's assume a flight from Toronto to Vancouver. In this case, this fee would trigger. Is the flight from Toronto to Seattle and from Seattle to Vancouver, this would definitely not trigger, because there is at least one airport outside of the domestic Canadian airports that in this case would then make this fee not trigger in this scenario. And then we have the last option. The applied except only matches an item if no segment touches the selected countries. So if I have here Canada, then this fee will only be applied if whatever itinerary I have never touches Canadian airports, basically. So again, it requires these 5 options can really sophisticated, can be really covering sophisticated requirements in regards of like the fee structure. Now, it's very important to play around with it, specifically with the international and domestic one, as those are mostly used by travel agencies, as they differentiate between a domestic travel and an international travel. So with that said, I can only encourage you to play around with it. That's going to be important. So what I'm going to do is now I say, let's say, let's do a domestic one here. Let's do a domestic for Canada. For flight will be automatically added whenever there is a traveler from the international trade company. Now I'm going to say, this is going to be, and that's the last criteria that we have on the fee now. It can be either once per card, per checkout, and be added to the card. So that means kind of like if I have like 5 flights, it still will, and like 5 travelers, it still will be only applied once. Add once per matching cart item means I have now, for example, like a flight, and it will be added once. Doesn't matter how many travelers I have, it will be added once. So if I have 5 flights with 4 travelers each, still it will be only added once per item, meaning 5 times. Here, add once per traveler. If I have 4 travelers on the cart, I can add multiple flights to it. Still, it will be only added 4 times, as I have 4 travelers on this cart. And this basically is then ultimately the multiplication. So if I have 5 flights and 4 travelers on each of those 5 flights, it will be multiplied. So then I have obviously 20 times this fee. And this is exactly what we want to select right now. And I'm going to create this fee. Okay, and so here we go. Fee for flights, international trade company, $10 US, visible to customer. Yeah, maybe for the domestic, maybe I'm just adding quickly the VAT here, 15%. I'm adding this on top. I have that on top here. Great. All right. Let's go. Let's have a look quickly onto the trade. Still here, trade company. Yeah, so I have here Harry Shelby. Great. So I have here two travelers. So they are preloaded now, two travelers, and I'm saying here Toronto, Pearson International, or I can also go for all airports, but in this case I want to have like the international airport to Vancouver, and it's going to be a one-way, and I'm selecting here a date in the future, 10th of May. Okay. And I'm going to select here, search now. So what behavior we should see now is obviously I should be able to see, oh, there was something going not the right way. Let's do that again. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. All right, so based on my criteria, I should have now two travelers here. Harry Shelby and Bobby Morris of the International Trade company. And as I can see, I have here all sorts of like results. I'm going for a WestJet result early in the morning, 7 o'clock here. Going to select it. And now what should happen is I should have now the fee for flights, International Trade Company, 2 times, including the VAT of $3 each. Sorry, of $1.50, as it is 15% I selected. So I have this now automatically added, and this is 2 times. So this is kind of like how a domestic fee, for example, can be added for specific travelers. Now let's do the test. So I'm going to reset here quickly. And I'm saying here without the travelers. I'm not going to pre-select it. I'm just going to have now 2 adults again. So let's do that. Yeah, I'm doing exactly the same itinerary again. Now, what should be the behavior I should see now? Should I not see the domestic fee for the international trade company? And as I can see, it's only the international air travel fee that I've created earlier. So that shows kind of like how you can not only associate fees with specific companies and their travelers, but also it shows kind of like how you can structure your fees in a very different way, with VAT, without VAT, etc. Again, I really can only encourage to play around with it. Maybe one thing more that I would like to show is so let's go maybe and archive this first fee so that we are not confused by this international air travel fee, etc. So let's have just the fee for flights. And I'm going to change a couple of things here. First of all, I'm going to remove it, the organization. So it's now applicable to everybody. And I'm going to make it not visible to the customer. Okay, so I'm updating the fee. So what's going to happen? So I'm going back to that. And I'm going to select again. doing exactly the same. So what we have to do here, I think, is just do that quickly on the travel app, as otherwise we're unable to demonstrate this properly. So let's do this quickly. So let's do this here. Toronto. And then a Vancouver. So, and what I have to do here is obviously because of the travel app, I have to activate that also for the travel app. So that's, oh, that's the wrong one here. Sorry. So I'm going to make this also now automatically being added on the online booking tool here. So update fee. Okay. So now let's do this. Let's again add maybe several travelers. Maybe I have to reload that quickly just to check everything is in order. Yeah, it's going to be on the Amadeus. Let's see if that works. Okay. So I have here a Transat flight directly from Toronto to Vancouver. So let's go and have a look on this. And I can see now it's non-visible to the end customer. It's not visible anymore as like an internet or like a domestic fee that we had previously on the fees. So let's go back quickly to the fees here just to check again. So we had fee for flights, international trade and company, etc. Obviously, we have now slightly abused this fee because now it's just a general fee for everybody for domestic travel within Canada. And as you can see, we have here a flight from Toronto to Vancouver, and it's now on the services and charges, $20, and obviously including the VAT. This is now basically the service charge added to it. So yeah, with that said, again, I can only encourage to play around with it and see how kind of like this can be in the best way adjusted to the way that the service fees in your travel agency works. Obviously, we're happy to get input here. Maybe there's some further edge cases that we haven't yet thought of, and that will be great to understand. So yeah, let us know your testing, and let us know your your feedback regarding those enhanced fees, and then we'll try to see what further we can do on the fees, basically. All right, so that was the fee part, showing you today, and not only some updated behavior in terms of like the automatic adding of fees to the cart, but also some new features like these two criteria here, as well as the automatism rule, etc. All right, and now let's go and have a look quickly to the queue listing, if that worked. Oh, it worked, it seems like. So we have this PNR now being imported. We see that the status has changed, and we now go on the order and have a look and see this is order 77. Yeah, there was obviously no price attached, so it wasn't priced, and that could be an issue when we obviously want to create the the itinerary, so there was no price attached to it. However, what has been created was the profile, and we can have a look on this quickly. So there has been the profile created, and that is how it basically works. In some cases, it can happen that there is no price in the reservation because it's only some sort of like an offer, and as we can see, this was here in this case. Was an issue. Obviously, based without the price, you can't create an order. But generally, this is what I wanted to show you here in terms of like this automatic creation. So if there's a proper pricing, or even if the booking is already ticketed and issued, then this will be a nice order, and will show correspondingly then on the orders, as well as then within like if a person is not known to the system, it will create automatically a profile. Now, how does that going to look like? It's very also quite I think we have a clear structure regarding this. If it's automatically created, it will have a question mark, and that means kind of like we can't 100% rely that this information is correct. On the other hand side, we can go on to, for example, a traveler that has been created basically by the travel agency, has been added to the platform, etc. And as we can see in this case, this traveler profile has a check mark here, and that means kind of like at least the travel agent, travel consultant has verified, updated, created, edited the information of this traveler, and thus we have a check. And let me see if I maybe have a double check here. No, maybe not. So whenever the traveler himself has basically created the profile or has updated the profile, then it will have a double check. So that means like it is properly being verified even by the traveler himself, and he has access to his data basically to keep it present. So this is something that we further going to improve, but however, this is now as of today available, so you can create your import task. Let's be clear though, if I create here an interval time of 15 minutes, it means that every 15 minutes our system goes and checks on the supplier. And if you have any, let's say, transaction limits, let's say look to book ratio, you pay by the transaction, this obviously will have an impact on those transaction costs. And I think that just needs to be very clear. Obviously, you have different options here, like every 2 hours, every 1 hour, every 24 hours. I think to just check, create a booking, you might want to have that like every 15 minutes or every hour, etc. Update the booking maybe once a day, etc. So there can be multiple implications of like workflows and cases, etc. with this new functionality. However, also here with this auto import, obviously we're looking forward to your feedback and to your updates regarding how this works for you. And so basically that was it for today. Thanks very much for joining us. And whenever you have a question, let us know through webinar@welltravel.com or support@welltravel.com if you already signed up with our platform. Thanks, and then see you again in a week from now. Thanks, bye-bye, and have a good day.